what a lot of people don't realize is swinging lets you see parts of personalities that you don't get to see that are very deep. And those are like the kind of animalistic motivations for doing things. You see people at their most base when you're talking about sexuality.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their funny, sexy, and fascinating stories as they take us on their journey. We always strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy and positive approach to non-monogamy.
However, everyone approaches it a little differently. And at its core, our show is about hearing, highlighting, and learning from the different experiences and approaches people have. With that in mind, it is important to remember that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of our own.
So sit back, relax, and just accept the fact that your time with us will be spent in an awkward turmoil of laughter and arousal. We should also let you know that this podcast will hopefully include some explicit language.
If that kind of thing offends you, we suggest you keep listening until it no longer does. If you're under 18, you either need to stop listening or go get your parents and you can listen as a family. The choice is yours. Enjoy!
Hey, y'all. No, I didn't know yours. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 13. We have an exciting interview today with the Peacock couple. This is Andi and Anthony, and they met, or actually they started as swingers separately, and then they met and kind of left swinging for a little bit, but then went and migrated into porn, taking videos of themselves after they kind of closed off their relationship for a little bit. So it's a really interesting interview.
Yep, it's your standard couple gets together, starts making porn, the usual. So. Before that, we just wanted to quickly remind everybody, we've talked about it in the past, we talk about desire a lot, how amazing it is. We're not going to talk about that. We're just going to remind everybody here that we are going to be at Desire in November with the Life on the Swing Set takeover. There's still lots of rooms available. If you want information on that, you can go to ssdesire.com. And the last thing we wanted to remind everybody was that if you want to sign up for Cassidy, you can get a free 30-day or 90-day trial if you leave us a review on iTunes or one of the other platforms. To try out the full feature set. So sign up through the resource page on our website.
Yep, and our website is normalizingnonmonogamy.com. You can also find us on Twitter under the screen name NNM Podcast and under the same screen name on Cassidy.
And with that, we will jump right into the interview. So I guess thank you guys for coming on the show and reaching out to us on Twitter kind of out of the blue. And,
it's awesome.
We also real quick going to take a second to say we would love to have anybody else on Twitter or any other platform reach out to us as well, because we're just happy to talk to everyday people. They don't have to be podcasters or famous in any way. So
Are we famous?
What's that? Oh, yeah, I mean,
semi-famous.
We're semi-famous.
Semi-famous. So, yeah, maybe tell us a little bit about who you guys are and a little bit of your background, and we'll kind of dive into it after that.
All right. So thank you for having us on, by the way. We're always appreciative whenever anybody takes the time to listen, because, I mean, it's rare that people listen, you know? So, and quite frankly, on Twitter, a lot of the vanillas, I see them talking about lifestyle stuff, and then we try to chime in, because who better to answer the questions that they're asking than two people actually living it, and then they don't talk to us because we're porn stars. So like, they think that we're trying to advertise for ourselves or whatever. I don't know what they think, but it's really nice to talk about what we do. And
well, I think it's important to share too that you guys are just you're normal people. It's just something that you guys fell into here, and we'll definitely get into that. But I guess could you share with the listeners, like maybe a little bit of background, how old you guys are roughly, and
maybe our names.
Yeah, maybe your names and the
Well, why don't you do that part then, smartass?
Smartass. All right. I'll do Mrs. Peacock or Andi. We're both 37. I've been in the lifestyle since 2009. Started out with my ex-husband and was single. I met this wonderful man.
and an orgy I was hosting.
Your girlfriend at the time was hosting.
Yeah, that's right. The first time was through her, yes.
Yeah. So
she was my birthday present from the girl that I was dating before.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was very interesting, but
just to be clear, I didn't dump her for her. I'm not that kind of person. We both had relationships that fizzled out at the same time, and we ended up together.
Okay.
It's just timing, but yeah we were just in a good place, and it just all kind of worked out. No, but yeah, no, we've been really happy doing this. It's kind of like we started off almost not wanting to swing. Like we started off and then we're like, this is not going to work. And I'm like, I don't want to share him with anybody. Like he's mine.
So wonderful.
Right? So you guys were both in the swinging lifestyle before you met, and then you almost kind of came back out of it. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were monogamous. That's how we got into porn, is through monogamy.
as one does.
As one does, yeah.
But yeah, we kind of took a break. But yeah, I mean, you've been doing it since, well, what year did you start?
My first couple was a 2005 as a single male. So I've been a slut.
Like for longer than me.
Yeah. So for me, like I've always liked the ladies. I mean, I just always have since I had a girlfriend in freaking preschool. You know what I mean? Like that's just the kind of person that I was.
When you were in preschool, right? Not like recently you had a girlfriend who was in preschool.
No.
Just to clarify for anybody.
I like them older. So in preschool I was dating the teacher.
There you go.
That would be more like that. No, but like for me, like when I discovered the lifestyle, it was an ethical way to have non-committal sex, because what the whole problem becomes is lies, you know? And if you could just be free of the lies, you know, then at least if somebody can't handle it, that's on them. You know what I mean? At least I was honest and I did my part, you know? So,
right.
Oh, yeah. But we're total opposites. He's total outgoing, blah, 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 likes to express himself. Me, I'm like, stay quiet, don't say much, and just keep to myself.
Right.
I thought she was outgoing when we met.
Yeah.
And that's
result of a divorce.
Well, she was trying to find confidence, so she exuded a certain persona at swinger parties that wasn't really quite the sweetheart that she really is. You know.
How long have you guys been together?
3-ish years.
It'll be 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, a little over 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, Anthony, you were swinging from, you said, about 13 years or so now, and I guess, what did that journey look like before you guys came together?
I mean, there was a lot of sex.
was the whole time as a single male, or you said you had a?
Well, honestly, like, you know, I think we all struggle with this. You, as somebody in the lifestyle, like, you go through phases of hating it and loving it, hating it and loving it. You know what I mean? So my swinging was like in between vanilla relationships for the most part. You know, I always try to go back to vanilla life. You kind of feel like pressure almost. You know what I mean? Like, and then it takes you a while to realize that, wait a minute, no, I don't have to be in a typical monogamous relationship. There's so many. It's a spectrum. You can go anywhere you want on that spectrum. You know, it doesn't.
Right.
So in that time you were not typically in the lifestyle with a partner. You were mostly in it as the single male.
A lot of the times, or when I mean, this is going to sound egotistical. I'm not going to so. But, like, I happen to be pretty good in bed, and like I have like the squirt magic, and like I'm not like making it up. And when you make a woman squirt, they are like on you like glue. Like you cannot shake them. You cannot get rid of them. So like I would end up like in swinger relationships then, you know what I mean? Relationships with people. So I wasn't single a lot. Let's just put that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I was going to say, I think you have something in common with Finn.
That's the trick. It's not hard, you know?
It's hard to find someone who does. Just saying.
Yeah.
Being a squirter myself, it's like, about 80% don't know.
No, they go like
Yeah, it's jamming, and I'm like, that doesn't do nothing.
Well, we'll have to have a separate show dedicated to the art of it.
How to make women squirt.
But so, Andi, on your side, what got you into the swinging world to start with?
Well, my ex-husband first. It was kind of, our marriage was a little shaky, and he brought up the idea, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. Kind of was just like, here. And I'm like, all right. Anyway, we were in it for a few years. We figured out that we wanted separate people. I found a couple I really liked, and he found a girl that he's going to marry. So it's like, you
guys did more of a polyamorous.
We did a more polyamorous thing. So then we ended up getting divorced. I was with the couple for a year or two.
When I met her, she was kind of with the couple.
Right, and then that fizzled, and that kind of fizzled around the time I met you.
That exploded. I accidentally made the guy cry. The other guy that was
the couple.
In the couple.
He was in love with her, right? Yeah. She was in love with being a lesbian, like the other girl, and like they had like a really toxic marriage. They were like totally apart, and he had fallen in love with her. So I go to meet them, and then we leave there, and I'm like, that dude's in love with you. Like I could just tell. He was mad at me the entire time for whatever. Like I could just get the vibe, right? I was like, dude, I don't know if you want to get involved with like a bad relationship. I was just discussing polyamory with one of our friends on Twitter. I think she's trans, but she says that she's in a, I don't know if that's the right pronoun, whatever. But she said that, polyamory for her hasn't worked. So this is probably what he's wondering about is like, so we met, and we would do like solo play dates at that point because that's what we were coming from.
Each of us. Solos.
And we figured out it didn't work for us.
It wasn't making us happy.
Like you wanted to be together.
We wanted to be together. We wanted to do things together, these clean things.
And plus we were so new, we didn't know now I think how much we trust each other we could, but now we just don't even want to. Yeah, like
other people.
So on Andi's side, you and your husband wound up breaking up shortly after you met Anthony, correct? Or no?
Or this was the couple that came.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Exciting, I know.
Yeah, she split from her husband, and then she dated a couple for a while, and then they met.
I got it. But then when you guys first got together, you had decided to have a monogamous relationship for a while, and then kind of wound up opening it back up.
That is correct. Yeah. Okay. So we went monogamous. That lasted maybe 6 months.
I was going to say about 6 months.
6 months. Mm-hmm. But in between there, we had a conversation. It was like, okay, well, we can't go from swinging to vanilla life. It's like too big of a transition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I need something to entertain myself sexually if it's not going to be multiple partners, like whatever. So that'd be like going from like crack to nothing. You just gotta go like, So we decided, all right, well, let's make some sex tapes. What could go wrong? And we figured, okay, well, maybe we'll make $300 and go to a nice dinner every now and then, whatever. And 20 million views later, wow, very well. So
yeah,
it just kind of voted on us, and then we kind of step by step kind of said, okay, well, what turns us on? And what we discovered, what really turned us on, were bisexual males in our bedroom. And I would consider myself 95% straight. The only 5% of a guy I think is hot is a big, hard dick. The rest of them could go away for all I care.
Like a toy.
And so I've kind of got in touch with that. And I've always enjoyed slutty women. That's always been my fetish ever since like being a teenager. There's nothing sluttier than a woman who will take 2 dicks in her mouth and 2 dicks in her pussy. So you're going to touch.
Right, right.
Yeah.
What we decided is we figured out very quickly that the bi guys are way more fun. You know what I mean? They're just way more fun.
Because they're just way more comfortable in the situation.
Yeah, and there's like not that like oh, my leg touched yours. Yeah. Oh, you know, like there's not that more.
Whatever.
A couple of times, the guy's been more into me than her. Yeah. You know, but you know, I just kind of like diffuse it a little bit. You know what I mean? So I don't mind it. You know, it doesn't matter that much.
Sure. So I guess what did that transition look like? So you went monogamous, porn, back to non-monogamy. Did you keep the porn aspect, or how does that look?
We kept the porn aspect because, I mean, it kind of blew up to the point where we saw the opportunity. You know, when life gives you opportunities, you don't just turn it down. You know, somebody's willing to pay you for yourself, your own personality, because that's all it is. Right. And that's why we got a lot of couples and women that like our porn, is because it's just us. And it's real, us. And it's us being us, yeah. And since we went from orgies to porn, camera's like nothing to us.
Yeah. Most of the time anyway, it's not.
So when you first started, it was just the two of you, and then you slowly started introducing in other guys? Okay.
Right, guys, and then we found some couples that we actually liked. And quite frankly, for us, not for anybody else in their relationship, we brought the swinging down to a level that is better for our personal mental health. When we met, it was like every fucking weekend we were at a swinger event. It didn't matter, like that was just all of our friends are swingers. Everybody was lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it was, in hindsight, you realize, no, that's too much. It's too much, you know. So we usually bring a new person into our bedroom maybe once every month to 3 months, and there's like no pressure there. You know what I mean? And it's only when we find something we really like, you know, or go on vacation. We prefer to swing on vacation, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, a little more relaxed.
Yeah, no kids.
Yeah, it's a fun way to do it. You know what I mean? And plus, then if you don't like them, you never see them again.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of a point that we didn't touch on earlier. Is you guys have kids, and you're normal everyday people who like to swing, and also found that making some porn was a fun way to make some extra money. So I think that's just a really kind of a fun, neat story.
Yeah.
We find it fascinating. So.
Yeah, no, a lot of people in the lifestyle do, and I try to make a company for lifestyle people that want to get into it. I think a lot of lifestyle people are like, there's still a lot of stigmas, you know what I mean? You don't want their work to find out or whatever. Yeah. We don't really care.
Yeah, I was going to ask, has there been any challenges revolving around your social life or work or anything like that with making the porn?
Or family life?
Or family?
You're probably seeing some of my outgoing Twitter comments by now. If you operate your life in a way where you're not ashamed of what you're doing, nobody can make fun of you. Nobody has anything on you. You know what I mean? The moment that you give somebody, you're giving somebody the opportunity to make you feel shame. You know what I mean? If you don't carry yourself with shame, they don't do it. You know, it's just that simple, you know? At least that's the way that I operate my life. Her family is more...
Well, your family knows. You work with your family. Your work knows.
Yeah, I tell everybody.
But I work in a very corporate environment. I wouldn't even tell my family. The only person who knows is my sister and my brother-in-law because she asked.
They know. But they won't say anything. They have like a don't ask, don't tell policy. Yeah. They're like...
yeah.
It's like the elephant in the room and no one will say anything.
Yeah, it would make them uncomfortable to talk about it.
And I think my group of friends at work knows, but they don't say anything. They keep it to themselves. They drop hints. Yeah. I'm just like,
just keeps it classy, and
I'm like, I don't.
Leave her alone, you know.
Yeah, so it doesn't really.
Right. Well, if someone asked you directly about it, it's not like you would lie about it. You'd tell them, but you don't have a reason to hide it, but you also don't have a reason to flaunt it.
Right, exactly. I'm like, I don't want to purposely lose my job, but I'm not going to broadcast it. I mean, I found out even there's another swinger in my office. I'm like, and it's like...
Yeah, it's a lot more popular than people realize, I think. I think a lot of people have gone to a swinger club or thought about it or dabbled or whatever.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I think that's part of what we're trying to show with this podcast is that there's so many more people out there that have at least thought about it than I think most people realize.
So has the the porn side of things affected the swinging side of things in terms of people are leery to meet you guys or go beyond just being friends because they think you're going to try to lure them into the bedroom and film them and that kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, number one, we're an LLC. You know what I mean? Our shit is legit, so we're not going to jeopardize our business that's like actually federal, recognized as a tax ID number.
Yeah.
Right.
Recording some person, they're not worth the business to us. You know what I mean? So,
but you're always upfront with everyone.
Yeah, I'm always upfront. But it's interesting. Swinging, what a lot of people don't realize is swinging lets you see parts of personalities that you don't get to see that are very deep. And those are like the kind of animalistic motivations for doing things. You see people at their most base when you're talking about sexuality.
Yeah.
And so what the porn thing has done has been interesting. All those couples that write you and they're fucking annoying and they're just time wasters?
Yeah. And yeah.
Rid of the time wasters. It's unbelievable. Like the porn thing, and we put out there right away, we're really only interested in people who are exhibitionists, period. You know what I mean? Because what we've discovered is that exhibitionists, like nudist type couples, like those couples that like just have taken it to that next level where they something like a camera isn't going to bother them. It's just, there's another level of swinger that
right.
Not just trying to fill. What it's done is we've effectively weeded out all the time wasters with the camera. It scares them off. It's great.
And that's not just because you guys aren't strictly looking for couples who will come on camera, but it takes care of the ones who think that that's maybe what you're looking for.
We have played off camera.
Mostly single girls, though.
Mostly with single girls, yeah, with unicorns. Because a lot of the unicorns we find, like, they won't do it. So, I always throw it out there, and if they want to do it, they can do it. If not, whatever. But like, it becomes weird because, like, at a certain point, it's not that we try to only play with people that are on camera. It's just we end up with such limited time. You almost have to blend the two for it to make it worthwhile.
Okay.
And it's not anybody, but it's like we get like one non-kid weekend a month. So you bet your ass you're going to be on camera that weekend. You know what I mean? Like, we only got one weekend to make this happen, So it's not like we have all sorts of time where we can see a bunch of people and this and that. And, I enjoy the camera element. To answer your question, we would be willing to play with people off camera. And when it happens the most is at like swinger clubs because you can't have cameras there anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Sure.
But we don't go a whole lot. We'll go to parties, but parties, not everyone's comfortable with it either. So
yeah, now we do it big though. We don't do like just go to the local swinger club. We go to fucking Toronto or Tampa or wherever, and it's so much more fun.
That's what I was going to ask you. What are some of your favorite places you've traveled to and visited swinging clubs?
It's funny when we go there. The swinger club that we go to is like secondary. We're using this as an opportunity to travel and see other places. But so far, we like Oasis the most. It was really cool.
Yeah,
it was really cool because they have fucking waiters. I've never been to a swinger club with waiters and bartenders.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Legit bartender.
Laying by the pool and like a waiter comes up. It's like, oh shit. They're like, this is the way to swing right here,
Yeah, no, it's a fun place, and it's kind of neat too because it's sort of like a mix between bathhouse and swinger, and it's in an old Victorian house.
Yeah, we've been there a couple times too.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Again, another fringe benefit to the porn thing is we never have to find couples online through sites. They usually like email us or whatever, and like that's how we usually find couples. Mm-hmm. The only time we use sites of any kind is for single dicks, and that's like whatever, And then we use Tinder, believe it or not, for girls. Like,
oh yeah, that makes sense.
Make a buy or have me make a profile. It just says we're a couple, and then it hooks up with girls in the area, and we found a lot of girls that way.
Lately, but we have one that.
Oh, I deleted the app because I just got sick of it.
You got sick of having too much sex with hot women.
Yeah.
No, swinger problems. Has there ever been a point where either one of you have decided, hey, we want to put this on hold, we don't want to do the filming, we don't want to meet other couples, or have you guys both been pretty gung-ho since you started it?
No, because for me, like, it feels like the right amount. I mean, we banged maybe, I don't know, 4 guys all of last year, and maybe 2 or 3 couples, and a couple of girls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we would have done that in like a weekend.
Right.
Before.
This was,
you know what I mean? So this is like nothing. You know,
this is a very good, comfortable level, and we're not like forcing each other to do stuff. And
it's never forced, and I think that comes through in the porn too. Like, we've gotten so used to just turn it on, you know, whatever, and we just forget about it. And
I find it fascinating that the porn has actually scaled back the amount of swinging that you've done.
Yeah,
that would be counterintuitive to me.
It has. We never, thought that it was effective.
So, tip to couples, if they feel like the swinging's becoming overwhelming, just start producing porn, and it'll help just naturally pare that back.
You know what it does? It helps you focus on each other too. That's one of the fringe benefits, because now you're just thinking about each other. You know, you start off there, and then you just kind of go from there. It's just, I going through this experience, I'm convinced that less is more when it comes to swinging. Like,
quality versus quantity type thing.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you're starting off, you just want to get that first experience, or that first couple, or that first unicorn, or whatever the first happens to be, you know. And now that we've had everything, now we know, okay, well, we're only going to do it when we really, really want to do it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's important too. And I guess, could you guys talk a little bit about some of the benefits that you think your marriage has seen from either from the swinging or from the porn, or from a combination of the two?
You want to go first? I can always talk.
You can talk and talk and talk. You go first, and then I'll add in. Right. I'm always good at that.
So when we went monogamous, a big part of the reason we went monogamous is because we were kind of so in love, or at least I was so in love with her. I wasn't jealous of wasn't jealous that she had a life before us. I was jealous that I didn't get to have that experience with her.
Yeah.
And she had that experience with somebody else. I wanted that for us too. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you had missed out on it.
I had missed out on it, and I felt like, you know, like, we got to do that too. Like, there was like almost like this competition almost, you know what I mean? And like, I had to let go of that. And now that I've let go of that, my watching her have sex with somebody else, or exploring with her and doing it together, it's complete trust. We don't get jealous. Oh, she gets a little jealous.
Well, yeah. You never get jealous of anything, but anyway.
No, I would. I mean, I would get jealous if, like, we have certain rules, you know, like, we don't cross gender text. We think that leads to problems. Somebody's always got to push it so far. Somebody's always got to push it too far. So we just don't do it, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, it's the swinging is just so much better now because we do it as a team. You know, it's better.
Oh, I agree. And yeah, because I mean, at first it was, you know, doing it with my ex-husband at first, it was all new and everything. And, you know, it was, you know, I wanted to do all those things with you, but it's like, okay, well, I did all those things with it, but they're not the same as whatever. But I'm so much happier now because I'm like sharing stuff with you. Everything's so much more deeper. I feel much more love. I never felt that before. And nothing ever meant like I wanted to do all these things with you before. I'm like, I felt I got angry all the time, and I'm like, now I don't feel angry. If I get upset, I'm like, okay, well, I don't really want to do it. Okay, I feel like we just understand what each other wants, what each other needs.
We're very in tune with each other and very respectful of each other. Very honest with each other.
Like if I don't like someone, if someone gives me a bad vibe, I'm like, no. It's like, come on. I'm like, no.
I saw that conversation going the other day. Like, I guess apparently some vanilla people think that there's a sense of what's the word? misogyny or
misogyny.
Misogyny.
The swinging, like the guy's pushing it all, but with real swinger couples, that's not how it is. She gets the final call on everything.
Every couple I've met, the woman has the final cut. It's like the girls have long.
It's like the unwritten rule, and people don't get that that's empowering to women, the lifestyle, because you're actually taking the time to ask honestly, I don't even get turned on if she's not turned on. My dick will literally get soft if she's
Yeah. 100%. And I think, it's not to say that you don't see couples where you can tell that maybe the guy is pushing the girl, or maybe the other way around, but I think it's important to know that those people don't last very long in the lifestyle because other people pick up on it really quick. Yep. And it's almost a repellent because you can see it and you're like, that's not a healthy situation. We're going to stay away.
Yeah. Well, we've seen it numerous times at parties.
For sure.
You see it.
But before, I think we were more likely to associate with that kind of couple before. But now the porn thing is just like...
We're so alert to all this stuff.
We're alert to it, but it also prevents any of those people from ever contacting us. It's a bit of a miracle, honestly. It's so much time.
But even people who are cheating or whether that kind of stuff, we don't even do that because it's like before I would be like, okay, whatever. But now it's like a definite no.
Yeah.
If you're hiding stuff, we don't want any part of it.
Yeah. I'm curious if, just hypothetically, let's say tomorrow they shut down all internet porn and you're not allowed to make another video. Would you guys still be in the swinging world?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, just the same level that we are now, just, here and there, parties. And
I mean, like I said, I've always been into slutty women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've always
to the day you die, you're going to be that way.
I will be addicted to crazy cock whores.
We run around the nursing home and all the old ladies.
That's interesting. I got the other thing I wanted to ask too is you touched on a little bit of the jealousy. Has that been an issue at all for you guys?
Not since that phase of monogamy.
Okay.
We needed to find our swinging style.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That we figured out what our balance was and what we were both looking for. Yeah. I had issues with it for a long time. Actually, I had issues with it all the time. It was not a good thing.
And you still get her more so than me, and I suppose I would too. Say what you will about single guys, the fact that they just want to come over and fucking leave is actually good for me. A lot of the women that we'll have over want that more social thing.
They like having a little bit more of a relationship.
Right, and so she's a little bit more defensive, I think, just in general.
I get.
But all the girls that we're with are cool. Nobody's been a problem.
No, I've loosened up, but I still every now and then get a little hesitant. If I get a vibe that maybe she's talking to you a little, I'm like,
And we're gonna be totally honest. If the girl's into her, she likes.
Well, yes.
And if the girl's into me, she doesn't like.
Also, if they talk to me, that helps too. If they're just like I say, hey, how you doing? They're like, fine. And I'm like, what do you have? Questions and they're very short answers. Then I get the vibe.
So we have a process. We start talking to a girl, and I'll do the pre-screening, where are you from, blah blah, the usual shit, and then I pass the girl over to her so that they can develop a relationship. And a lot of times if the conversation just doesn't go anywhere, then we don't swing with them.
Right.
You have to bond.
Yeah, I think that's super common. Even you talk to couples all the time, and it's important that if we're meeting another couple, I have to like the other guy, she has to like the other girl just as much as we have to like. It has to be a four-way connection because I don't want someone with her that I don't like, and she doesn't want someone with me that she doesn't like. And
it's very hard to find.
It is. Yeah.
It's extremely hard to find.
That's why the threesomes are actually are almost easier to find sometimes too. But you need respect from all parties involved.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like that person's there to try and steal your partner. You want to feel like they understand that they're not to say that they have a job, but they're there to be a part of this and be fun, and that you're both there. It's not just, hey, I'm here for her, shut up and leave me alone, or hey, I'm here for him, shut up and leave me alone. Yeah. You still have to be a cordial to the other person.
Which is another reason why the bi guys are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're to do their job. Well,
they're into both of us. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're like
they want to fuck and
it's a threesome. Yeah. It's not a come over and bang my wife thing. Exactly. You know?
Yeah. That makes sense. Have you guys experienced any other challenges around having an open marriage besides the jealousy?
Occasionally you'll forget to tell me, like when we would have a date in the beginning, but besides that, I mean, that's more of a personal thing, but besides that.
Yeah, so one bad thing that I've done is, like, because of the business, like, sometimes I have to make business decisions about, like, okay, we're going to meet this couple, but, like, it's always under the presumption that we're just meeting them for the business thing and maybe play. Does that make sense? Because, like, we'll launch couples. Like, other couples that want to launch or whatever. And so, like, we go to San Antonio or whatever, and then we help them, you know, get off the ground and, you know, whatever. And we always go into it with, hey, we're coming there to meet you and hang out and be friends. And if we play, great. If not, no hard feelings. You know what I mean? It's kind of a no pressure kind of thing. And, like, a couple of times I've been like, I've scheduled it without consulting her first. But when you're not thinking about sex, it's not, you know what I mean? I'm not thinking about sex at that point.
You're just coming in from a business standpoint and trying to make sure you get that in the calendar so it happens.
And she's got to know everything.
I got to know everything. I'm very organized. I need to know these things.
I can relate to that. I would want to know, like, to plan as well.
I get it, but, like, it's not like, you know how guys are, where it's like, okay, the 12th, boom, done, you're in. You know what I mean? It's
like appointments. I know. I get you.
How do you guys handle the topic of safe sex and swinging and just over the years?
It's so hit or miss.
Well, usually it depends. I mean,
first of all, we like being bare. Well, we like being bare, but we don't put ourselves in what I would call high risk scenarios.
Right. Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to talk bad about other swinger couples, but as we already talked about, they exist on the spectrum, and one of those spectrums happens to be like the anonymous glory hole play and things like that. That's not our thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, adult bookstores and, you know, that's cool. You know what I mean? But we don't put ourselves in high risk scenarios. And what's funny is most of our partners wear condoms, like a lot of guys or whatever. But, like, what's funny is because we're swinging so much less than we used to, we feel like we're less at risk, I guess. Which is probably not smart. They could happen anytime.
Because there's one person or a billion people.
A vanilla person could give you an STD. You just never know. You know?
Sure.
Mathematically speaking, we've dramatically reduced the probability because we're hardly ever swinging.
Right.
Yeah, we do. It's been people like a couple.
And it's the same people. We see the same people
at these parties.
We don't really.
So you develop that sense of trust and get to know people.
So you guys do, on occasion, play, like, you will have a bareback sex on occasion with other people?
Occasion.
If they're comfortable with it, most of the time it is with them. So
it's almost like with couples, it's more of like an unwritten rule that you're just going to use a condom anyway.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. So, most couples, that's what it is.
A couple of couples have asked to take it off, you know, and we just don't usually. Like, just...
Right. And just out of curiosity, do you guys get tested regularly just to kind of make sure you're
6 months, 3 months?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's pretty regular. I think that's, if you ran into any vanilla person and asked them the last time they got tested, I would say most of them would say never or years. So I think 3 to 6 months is pretty reasonable.
Yeah. So, especially for the amount you're playing.
Yeah, and then, like, the other part about it, too, is if something burned or itched or was growing, I wouldn't be swinging.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not that you can tell always, but
I was going to say some STIs are pretty asymptomatic, but that's.
But I mean, the more a lot of them are symptomatic. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
Like if I have if it burns when I pee, I'm not going to go fuck somebody.
Right.
I'm gonna go I don't know. I do what I can to minimize the risk, and that's all you can do. Because,
sure.
Quite frankly, you might get an STD from a vanilla person.
Absolutely.
I've been in a lifestyle. The only time I've ever gotten an STD was from a vanilla person.
Sure.
So
and I don't think that's all that uncommon. I think you find in the swinging world that people are much more in tune with it.
They're careful.
And they're willing to have the conversation too about it.
Right.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And in any of this, there's always an element of risk, and it's just about managing that and discussing with your partner what your tolerance is and playing to that level.
Yeah.
So
probably should do a condom mandatory thing, but the condoms are just like the wears her pussy out. You know what I mean? And then when you try to do double badge, it doesn't work that well. Right? So you have that, and then now, one of the big turn-ons for me, honestly, is when her pussy tastes like sex. I will eat the fuck out of her pussy when she's had multiple dicks in it. I will eat it like a fucking watermelon. I'm all in there. It's animalistic kind of shit. You know what I mean? And if it tastes like a condom, it's totally different than when it tastes like sex. It's.
Well, it's the same thing a blowjob. It's like when it's on and then you take it off and then to do it again and then
you taste it.
Then it's like, it's like
yeah.
So we've all been through it. Because you got to live with them, but it does ruin some of the tight taste. It does, and then a lot of people get soft with them on. You know what I mean? I'm totally fine with them off.
If they're not used to them too, especially.
It's not just that. Trust me, as a man, having something on the outside of your cock, squeezing the blood out of it while you're trying to squeeze the blood into it, and maybe you're not super into the person that you're with to start with, you know what I mean? And you're just doing it because you're there. You might as well get So I already drove a half an hour.
That's you. Bless you.
Yeah.
Just a couple final questions. One is, do you guys have any tips? I mean, from each of you, maybe one or two, just short tips for people that are just getting into this that you wish you had known when you first started.
I have lots of tips for you.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Two? All right.
Two each.
All right. Number one, don't make a big fucking deal out of it. That's the number one mistake people make. All right? This is sex and sexuality. It's not your identity. It doesn't mean anything about you as a person. You can be a swinger. You can enjoy yourself. You can have a good time. But you don't need to make a big fucking deal out of it. It's your brain that's making a big deal out of it. It's just bodies. That's all it is. It's just the human body. You can enjoy another human's body. It doesn't have to be significant. It can just be that moment. And you leave it at that moment. You know what I mean? It doesn't. People make this giant thing in their head, and all they really need to do is show up at a club, mingle, talk to a few people, and when it's the right couple, it will just happen.
Yeah.
You don't need to force it. You don't need to force your wife to do it. You don't need to tell her, well, you're not that into them, but you got to try. You don't go until you try. When it's right, you will just feel it, and it'll just happen. And if it doesn't happen, who cares?
Yeah. Be patient.
You're having a good time, whatever. So that would be the first thing that I would say. And the second thing that I would say is be on the same fucking page. You know what I'm saying? You were saying, you can smell those couples where they're not balanced, where one pushing their issue and the other person's reluctant. Save everybody the time and trouble. Get your relationship right first. This is not a good thing for people who are looking to fix a relationship. Period. Those are the two things I would say.
Yeah,
that's a huge compliment. Just saying. being on the same page is huge. But yeah, mostly I think just be yourself. Because I mean, I was so nervous when I first started. I barely knew who I was as a person. Knowing who you are as a person is huge. I mean, I got to know myself through it. I mean, it helped. But I would say it built my confidence. You got to know exactly who you are, what you want, what you're comfortable with. And I'm thinking that's just huge. Just enjoy yourself. There's no pressure to do anything like you said, like at your point. That's mostly what it is for me. It took me a long time, not until I met him, that I feel like there's never any pressure, ever. You're mostly there to have a drink, get to know each other, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, it's great. I mean, but it took me, for me, always, it always just meant like, you're going to a party, you have to do it.
Yeah.
You're meeting these people, you have to do it. I'm like, it's like, we don't. Hey, we have each other. I'm like, we always have each other.
We always have each other, and we always have fun after they leave, no matter what. You know what I mean? So, and one last point is, don't force it. You know, like I think that's one nasty habit that we don't do anymore. So like when somebody comes over and that vibe just is not there, it's okay to just be honest and say, you know what, we're not feeling the vibe. We're really happy that you came over, but this isn't a match.
Yeah.
Boom, done. Just cut the head off the snake right there. You know what I mean? Because if you wait till clothes start coming off to start voicing your opinion, it's going to get really fucking awkward. You know what I mean? Yeah. So better off just as soon as you know, just be honest. Mature swingers can handle rejection. I think that's one of the things that's great about swinging is you're forced to become mature in a way that other people aren't. Now, I will never get on a soapbox and say swinging's for everybody, because it is not. But it does force you to have some very, very real conversations with yourself, about your own insecurities, about, really think about who you are and what you can handle. It makes you look at yourself and I've seen a couple of comments polyamorous or polyamory is bad because it increases male violence against each other, male dominance, fighting. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a fight at a swinger party. I've only heard one, because people are forced to learn to handle being rejected gracefully. Yeah. And that's a skill that you don't get to learn in vanilla life. You just don't. Yeah.
You're put in a lot of social situations that you don't have a script for, you don't know what to do, and you figure it out, and you learn skills, like you said, that you wouldn't necessarily learn otherwise.
Yeah. The ability to say no and the ability to handle it when somebody says no is so.
You're good at a lot doing it more.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it.
No, I trust my instincts. So when I get a bad vibe, I'm like, okay.
She just gives me these big eyes.
Yeah, that's the clue.
She's like, honey, she just gives me the big eyes, and I know that I have to say something.
Well, you're graceful about it. Me, I'd be just like, I don't know.
No, I'm not graceful. I'm just blunt, honest, but blunt. Yeah.
But that's what it is. Me, I'd be like glamorous.
Yeah, you kind of scapegoat around.
Right, exactly.
I will say, this is not a fit tonight. We're not in the mood.
Yeah, and just be blunt and honest about it and straightforward. Do you guys have any resources that you would like to share with the listeners that were helpful, I guess, back when you started into swinging, or I guess that are useful to you guys now?
Well, I mean, just go to your local swingers club. Honestly, just if this is something that you're interested in, just go.
Just watch. They'll let you just watch.
You just go and mingle, and there's. Like I said, people make it into this giant thing, and it doesn't need to be a giant thing. It just doesn't.
I didn't make it into a big giant thing.
Yeah, I bet you did.
But it was like the scariest thing ever, and really, you're just meeting other people. That's all you're there. Meeting other people, getting to know them, and it was just drinks. And it's like, oh my God, they could see the fear in my face. And it's and it's like they don't want to see that, but it's hard to get over that.
Yeah, I strongly advise against online dating, honestly. Meeting people in person is so much more authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair advice. I mean, it's definitely not for everybody. And I would almost take it one step further and say maybe your first time don't go to a swingers club, but maybe go to a meet and greet. Right? That's maybe a nice middle ground where we can go, we're going to have drinks, we're going to have dinner. No one's going to expect.
No play at a meet.
Because it's a public place.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
That's actually a good advice. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, it's just because I know that first time you go to a swingers club, it can be very intimidating. Or maybe when you go, you kind of make the deal with your partner and say, hey, look, we're going to go tonight. We're just going to watch.
Yeah.
No matter who comes after us, even if it's the hottest people in the club, we're going to show some self-restraint, and we're going to say, you know what, we'll get your guys' number, we'll be in touch, we'll be here next weekend, or something where you just sit back and soak it in and
take the pressure off.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we really enjoyed talking to you guys, and how can you guys let the listeners know where they can find you if they're interested in checking out some of your porn or talking to you and asking questions?
Well, we're peacockcouple.com. Do you want to know how that name came about? It's kind of interesting.
Well, give us all the information and then,
So that's our site, and then you can find us on Pornhub if you're too cheap to buy porn. So
Two Peacocks, right?
it's 2 Peacocks 22 on Pornhub. We're on Twitter. We're on Tumblr. The best way to reach us if you want to talk to us is Twitter, though, because we're always on Twitter and we're very active and vocal. We like Twitter a lot because most of the swinging we do now is actually through Twitter, believe it or not. So that's the best way to get in touch with us. But the Peacock couple thing was cool because when we met, as I told you, she was she had a swinger persona. You know what I mean? That she was finding her self-confidence through.
Yeah.
So and she's so busty and squirty and hot. I mean, okay, so there's different grading scales to people. I mean, let's be honest, right? So the swinger grading scale is slightly below Vanilla Land's grading scale, right? So a hot swinger is an 8 in normal land. You know what I'm saying?
he's got this all figured out.
Right? So she's a 10 in Swingerland. You know what I mean? Whereas in Swingerland I might be a 9, but in normal land I might be a 7. You know what I mean? So if you take her to a swinger party, she's probably one of the hottest people there, if not the hottest person there, right? So, and I've got a big fucking mouth, and I kind of run, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I told her, I was like, well, how are 2 peacock personalities going to get along in a relationship? Because I thought she was more outgoing and gregarious than she is.
Ah, yeah.
Right? So that's how that name Peacock couple came about. Turns out she's actually shy, and she likes that I drive, and she doesn't want to be driver. She wants the final say, which is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She wants the final say in what happens. She prefers for me to steer the boat and then say, honey, do you want to land on this island over here?
You want to go and see that?
So we found a balance that works for us. So.
No, that's fascinating.
Yeah, that's a cool story.
It's cool that two very opposite personalities can make it work so well. I think that's encouraging for anybody who's out there thinking that it's not for them, that it could be.
Well, as relationship advice from a person that's been through a divorce and another person who's been through a divorce, whether you're a vanilla, swinger, or whatever, if you are in a relationship with somebody who enjoys conflict, it's going to be toxic. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a personality in the relationship that is willing to let the other person have their way. You can't have 2 people that always want their way. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
From my experience.
Well, I had an ex-husband who wanted to be the center of attention, but when we started swinging, I was the center of attention.
Then he would pout.
So it didn't work. We both the center of attention. It kind of just.
I'm like the lead, and then once the clothes come off, it's all about her, and that's what she wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's interesting because I think a lot of times you see where the woman is they almost get thrust into this role of being the bait, where it's okay, you go find the couple and bring them back, and then But it sounds like for you guys it's a little bit opposite, where you kind of go out and wrangle in all the couples, and then you just turn them over to her.
to that?
Yeah. I've definitely felt that pressure where I have to be the one to go up and dance with a woman or talk with a woman and put myself out there. And being introverted, that is not always easy to do.
It's not always comfortable either, and it's like, I'd rather, if I feel comfortable enough, I will, but if not, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, so I just basically talk to people. What I look for, I'm the pre-screener, right? So what I look for is people who are warm and friendly. That's what I look for. When I spot like a snotty swinger or like, somebody who's just, I don't get a warm, friendly vibe from, it's just not going to happen. We don't connect with them. Like, you two are adorable.
They are super cute.
You guys are adorable as well.
It's all in the smile. You can tell when somebody smiles if there's warmth and genuineness to them.
Yeah.
Warmth there. Yeah. I guess
that's what we look for. So.
Cool.
Well, again, we're super happy that you guys reached out and came on the show and shared a little bit of insight into both swinging and homemade porn, because I think it's something that, I don't know, I imagine there's some people out there who are like, oh, I'd love to get into that, but I have no idea how to do it. Just out of curiosity, if people reached out to you via Twitter, is that something you guys are open to talking to people about?
Yeah, we don't try to pressurize. So we started a studio just for our co-stars, if that makes sense. All right, so we don't want to pay people for sex because then it's fake. Right. So, and we don't want to be paid for sex. We've been offered from studios before. Now we've been doing this long enough that porn studios have come to us and made offers. We don't want to do that, right? So what we did is we created a separate site for people who want to get into this. So, say like our friend Vernon and her husband were so cool. We just met them in Tampa. They have a model page on a separate site. They're on our site, but then they can sell the videos that we make with them on that site too. So they get to experience some of that too. Build themselves a name, you know what I mean? And then if they get big enough, they just branch off to their own site or whatever. Anybody who fucks us has the opportunity to make money. I mean, how many couples can you say, fucking them actually made me money? You know what I mean?
Yeah, not too many.
On your swinger resume?
Oh my God.
So yeah, we that's one of the businesses that's what Two Peacock Productions is I help couples launch. And so say you two wanted to make a sex tape, you upload the file to Dropbox, I'll make it beautiful and do the lighting, add headers and all this shit, professionalize it, and then market it for you. So all you two had to focus on was making love to each other. That's the business.
I see. That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, I hope that some of the listeners out there got something or get something out of that, and we'll send some people your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's no pressure. Right. We're going to be doing us no matter what.
Right.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I guess the side benefit is you get to watch a lot of porn that's not you too.
You don't even think about it after a while, though.
Yeah, that's true. It's just business.
And you see some stuff you don't want to see. We're not into anal, and I'm just gonna be honest, it grosses me the hell out. I'll lick a butt, but I'm not breaking the seal. You know what I mean? Like it just gives me the willies, and I don't want to see the inside of somebody's butthole. I just don't. And unfortunately, I have to see stuff like that. So
That's true.
Well, again, thank you guys for coming on. It was awesome chatting with you.
Thank you for having us, and wish you best of luck with the podcast. That's super awesome. You guys are doing that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, we are.
So we're having a lot of fun with it, meeting awesome people like you guys and all the other people who've come on. So thanks again, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, have a good night, guys.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Bye.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, everyone. We're back. We just wanted to once again say thanks to the Peacock couple for reaching out to us and coming on the show. They're super awesome people, and they're a lot of fun to talk to, and they have a really cool story. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Next week, we have another fun interview with a couple from Ohio who started swinging and then eventually started their own swing club in Northern Ohio.
Yeah, and they're doing something really cool. We try to promote different things that we really believe in, and they're starting to do some parties that are catered directly towards bi men and bi women equally, rather than having that disparity. So they're going to talk for a few minutes about that, but the majority of the episode is about their journey through swinging and dealing with jealousy. So it's a fantastic conversation. They're awesome people. So we will see you guys in a week for that interview.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.